The cameras flashed, the crowd froze. The iconic steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art transformed, just for a moment, into a family portrait.
And a very powerful family portrait at that.
Exactly. And just like that, Hollywood had an entirely new obsession. Welcome to Starscope Report.
We are so glad you're here with us.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And we have a truly massive cultural moment to unpack today.
Massive is an understatement.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is to look past the surface-level glamour of the 2026 Met Gala. We are taking a huge stack of sources. I mean, we've got fashion breakdowns, entertainment reports, morning show transcripts.
All the receipts?
All of them. And we're using them to dissect the real headline here. We're talking about Blue Ivy Carter's Met Gala debut, the tears it brought to matriarch Tina Knowles, and of course, the deeply calculated return of Beyoncé after a decade-long ghosting of high society's biggest night.
I want to start right on those steps, actually, because we have to talk about the sheer audacity of this debut.
It really was something to witness.
It was. I mean, 14-year-old Blue Ivy broke one of Anna Wintour's absolute strictest mandates just by, breathing the air inside that museum.
Yeah, it's a brilliant study in how institutional power actually operates. Because to understand the gravity here, you have to look at the mechanics of the Met Gala guest list.
Right, the infamous rules.
Exactly. Since 2018, there has been a notoriously rigid, publicly stated ban on anyone under 18 attending.
And they do not bend on this.
No, they really don't. The organizers drew a hard line in the sand. If you recall, the dancer Maddie Ziegler was famously barred.
Wait, she was, 15 at the time?
Yep, 15. The Costume Institute essentially declared the gala an adults-only, highly curated environment. No exceptions.
But let's look at how those rules magically evaporate, Sure, pre-2018 we saw exceptions, but since that ban, the door has been locked tight.
Until now.
Right. Until suddenly, Beyoncé is named a co-chair for 2026. And the moment that happens, the velvet rope doesn't just unhook, it gets thrown into the East River.
That is a great way to put it.
Not only is 14-year-old Blue Ivy there, but fellow co-chair Nicole Kidman also brought her daughter.
Right, Sunday Rose.
Yeah, 17-year-old Sunday Rose, just draped in custom Dior.
And this reveals the true hierarchy of Hollywood. A rule at the Met Gala is only as strong as the leverage of the person challenging it.
Which, in this case, is a lot of leverage.
An unbelievable amount. When you are a co-chair of Beyoncé or Nicole Kidman's caliber, you aren't just an attendee, you are the draw. You provide the cultural capital that actually funds the museum.
So the museum kind of has to play ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the PR machinery goes to work, negotiations happen behind closed doors, and that no minors rule is quietly waived as a perk of the highest echelon of stardom.
And what a way to utilize that perk. I want you to picture the sheer physical space Blue Ivy took up on that carpet.
Oh, the dress was phenomenal.
It was architectural. She arrives in a pristine white custom Balenciaga gown. But it's not just a dress. It features this massive, dramatic bubble hem that literally forces everyone around her to keep their distance.
It commanded a perimeter.
It really did. She's wearing a tightly corseted bodice and over it, a matching puff sleeve jacket with a collar popped so sharply it looks like armor.
And we have to talk about how she completed the look.
Oh, the sunglasses. A pair of wavy, blacked out sunglasses.
Which is where the friction really started. Every piece of red carpet etiquette dictates that you remove your eyewear.
Right, so they can see your eyes.
Yeah, the press pool needs their clear, eye contact money shots. It's the whole point of walking the steps. The photographers were audibly screaming at her to take them off.
And she just refused. It was incredible to watch.
Complete defiance.
To me, it felt less like, a teenager being stubborn and more like a visiting royal refusing to bow to a foreign king.
That's a strong comparison.
But it's true. Even Jay-Z, who was standing right next to her, was leaning in and visibly urging her to take them off. But she holds her ground.
She communicates entirely through her posture that those glasses are staying on until she reaches the stairs.
Which naturally fractured the internet into two very distinct camps.
Oh, the discourse was everywhere.
It was loud. One camp was mesmerized by her poise, pointing out the uncanny resemblance to her mother's stoicism, like, look at her go.
But the other camp initiated a very fierce debate about the state of high fashion. The criticism was really pointed.
Yeah, people were asking, why is a 14-year-old in adult couture at an adults-only event?
It reignited that entire Nepo baby discourse we see so much of online, with people arguing that the Met Gala was basically bending its knees to inherited wealth.
I actually want to push back on the romanticized view of this moment, too. You see the clips of Jay-Z at the bottom of the stairs laughing with his publicist, Yvette Knowles, flashing a thumbs up.
A very proud dad moment.
Sure, and you read the Vogue live stream transcript where Beyoncé tells Lala Anthony how surreal it is to share the spotlight with her daughter. It's framed as this tender parenting milestone.
But you're questioning that framing.
I am. Is it genuinely just a proud mom and dad, or are we watching a highly calculated, multi-million-dollar PR rollout of the next generation of Carter Knowles enterprises, masquerading as a family outing?
That is definitely the cynical view, and honestly, it's not entirely unwarranted given the sheer scale of their empire. Everything is calculated.
Exactly.
However, if we look at how this moment rippled through the rest of the family, that cynical PR theory starts to crack a little bit.
How so?
Well, you have to look at the visceral, unfiltered reaction from the woman who actually built this empire from the ground up.
Yes. Blue Ivy clearly inherited her mother's fierce confidence to handle a night like that. But where does that foundation really come from? Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the emotional breakdown from the family's matriarch that nobody saw coming.
A very touching story.
It really is. If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
So getting back to it, that matriarch is, of course, Tina Knowles. While the internet debated the ethics of nepotism and high fashion, the most revealing commentary actually came from her.
Yeah, her appearance on the Today Show the following morning.
Right. That interview is what really grounds this whole spectacle.
She literally broke down in tears on national television.
She did. She watched her 14-year-old granddaughter conquer the Met steps, and she described it to the host as this overwhelming wave of déjà vu.
To understand why it hit her so hard, we kind of have to rewind, right?
We do. Long before the custom Balenciaga and the billion-dollar net worths, Tina was the sole architect of Destiny's Child's image.
Back in the late 90s.
Exactly. And back then, high fashion houses flat out refused to lend clothes to a young, black Southern girl group. They wouldn't even open the door.
That is so wild to think about now.
It is. So Tina bought the fabric herself. She designed the silhouettes, she cut the patterns, and she sewed the outfits by hand.
So imagine the emotional whiplash she must have felt. She is sitting in her living room, watching her granddaughter draped in the kind of exclusive European couture that once literally slammed its doors in her face.
It's a massive full-circle moment.
She told the interviewers she was instantly transported back to styling a 15-year-old Beyoncé for her very first red carpets. It's a perfect, vivid mirror image spanning across 3 generations.
It is. But the behind-the-scenes reporting from these sources makes it clear that Tina's legacy isn't just about styling or navigating the press.
No, it goes much deeper than the clothes.
Much deeper. She provided a profound psychological scaffolding for her family. Tina has frequently discussed how her parenting was rooted in unwavering Christian beliefs.
Right, enforcing prayer, regular church attendance.
Yeah, and a really rigid moral compass. That was the grounding force that kept them steady.
I look at it like a heat shield on a spacecraft re-entering the atmosphere. I mean, the music industry in the late 90s and early 2000s was a profoundly toxic, exploitative environment.
Especially for young women.
Especially for them. And Tina provided that heat shield. She absorbed all the friction so her daughters wouldn't burn up upon entry into that world.
That's a really great analogy.
And now you can see she's passing that exact same protective shielding down to Blue Ivy.
And we can't ignore the fact that Tina herself has needed every single ounce of that resilience recently.
Her health struggles.
Yes. In 2024, she fought a very private battle with breast cancer. The details she shared are a stark reminder of our recent history, really.
What happened exactly?
Well, she revealed that amidst the chaos and the lockdowns of the COVID pandemic, she actually missed 2 of her routine mammograms.
Oh, wow. Which is terrifying and honestly so relatable. It completely strips away the billionaire status.
It really does. It happens to anyone.
Even the mother of the most famous woman on earth was skipping doctor's appointments during the pandemic.
But she made it through. And she's now using her massive platform to aggressively advocate for women to prioritize their own health.
Warning them not to let the chaos of life delay vital screening.
Exactly. And that survival instinct is the core theme of her recently published best-selling book, which is appropriately titled Matriarch.
I love that title, and there's a fascinating anecdote regarding the paperback release of that book in our sources.
Cover story.
Yes. Her publisher presented this polished, highly professional cover design, which Tina just completely rejected.
Straight up said no.
Instead, while vacationing in St. Bart's, she walked down to the beach and literally drew her family's names into the sand with her own hands.
And that became the cover.
It's a literal reclamation of her family's narrative. I just love that.
It's so fitting for who she is.
Okay, but we have to mention my absolute favorite detail from that book tour.
Oh, the Oprah story.
Yes. It's about how she found out Oprah had selected matriarch for her book club. Her assistant kept running into the room saying, "Your publisher's on the phone. You need to take this."
And Tina was just exhausted.
Completely exhausted. So she just ignored the ringing phone. Not once, 4 times.
4 times.
When she finally picked up, fully prepared to just yell at her publisher, it's Oprah Winfrey on the line.
That is amazing.
And it says she practically fell out of her bed.
It's a hilarious, very humanizing moment. But it brings us right back to the central mechanism of this family.
How so?
Well, Tina's work ethic, her ability to ignore the noise, even if it's Oprah calling, and her refusal to compromise her values. That is the exact playbook Beyoncé utilized to navigate her own stratospheric rise.
Exactly. Tina built the armor, but Beyoncé is the one who had to wear it on the world stage.
And whereas she did.
But here's the thing. For the last decade, she chose to keep that armor completely hidden from Anna Wintour's guest list. Why did she finally come back? And what cryptic message did she just send the world from the red carpet?
Oh, the theories on this are wild.
Don't go anywhere, because we are getting into all of it.
So the transition from the matriarch to the superstar is where the mechanics of celebrity power become truly fascinating.
Let's get into it.
You cannot fully analyze Blue Ivy's red carpet debut without dissecting the highly strategic, tightly controlled return of her mother.
Right.
Beyoncé did not just attend the 2026 Met Gala. She orchestrated it as a co-chair, ending a staggering 10-year hiatus.
10 years? I mean, 10 years in pop culture time is basically a century. Let me set the scene for you to really put this in perspective.
Please do.
The last time we saw Beyoncé on those steps, it was 2016. She wore that iconic, skin-tight, pale Givenchy latex gown. It was covered in pearls and these intricate floral embellishments.
I remember it perfectly. It defined the evening.
It really did. And then she simply vanished from the event. For a decade, the most exclusive party in New York couldn't secure her RSVP.
Well, if you track her career trajectory during that decade, the absence actually makes perfect sense.
It wasn't just a random break.
No, not at all. In 2016, she was entirely consumed by the cultural earthquake of the Lemonade era. Then in 2017, the Met Gala coincided with the final stages of her pregnancy with twins Rumi and Sir.
So she had her hands full.
Exactly. And from there, her strategy just shifted. She headlined Coachella, she launched massive stadium tours, and famously began vacationing on private islands during the first Monday in May.
Just completely opting out of the circus.
Right. The consensus among industry analysts is that Beyoncé reached a tier of fame where visibility is no longer something she seeks. It's a currency she actively withholds. She only appears when it perfectly serves her own narrative.
And she clearly decided 2026 was the time to spend that currency because her wardrobe was an absolute spectacle.
It was cinematic.
She gave us 2 distinct, mind-blowing looks. On the red carpet, she arrived in a custom piece by former Balmain designer Olivier Rousteing.
Incredible craftsmanship on that one.
Unreal. It was a flesh-colored bodysuit, intricately designed with a diamond-encrusted skeleton motif. And it was swallowed by this massive, sprawling, feathered cape with a dramatic train.
The red carpet look was stunning. But the engineering of her inside look, which was designed by Robert One, is what really had the fashion world reeling.
Describe that one for us.
It was a black and gold gown conceptually designed to look like the Earth viewed from a night flight. So picture a golden constellation of city lights against a dark landscape.
That sounds beautiful.
It was. But the craftsmanship metrics are almost unbelievable. It took 4,300 hours of labor, featuring over 300,000 hand-embroidered stitches.
Over 300,000.
And thousands of individual crystals.
Hold on. Let me just do the math on that for you. If a standard workweek is 40 hours, 4,300 hours is roughly 2 solid years of labor for a single person.
It's staggering.
Or an entire team working around the clock for half a year for one dress.
The dedication is unreal.
The sheer concentration of wealth and human effort required to put that garment on her body for a 4-hour party is mind-boggling. But, and here's the crazy part, the dress isn't even what caused the internet to melt down.
No, the dress was secondary to what happened with her hands.
It was a split-second movement.
Right. Amidst the flashbulbs, Beyoncé deliberately posed and threw up the rock-on hand gesture. The classic sign of the horns.
Just a quick little hand sign.
But within seconds, her fan base mobilized to decode it.
The Bayhive operates like a global intelligence agency, I swear. They immediately theorized that this was the official, heavily calculated tease for the mythical Act 3.
Which is a huge deal for the fans.
Let's give you the quick context if you aren't initiated. Her recent musical eras have been structured as a trilogy. Renaissance reclaimed house and dance music. Cowboy Carter reclaimed country.
And the rumor for the third.
The pervasive rumor has always been that Act 3 will be a full-blown rock album. So fans see the diamond skeleton aesthetic, they see the rock on hand sign, and they declare the rock era has officially begun.
The media reaction to this theory was highly entertaining to read through. You had veteran broadcasters trying to make sense of the hysteria on morning television.
Which is always funny.
It is. Chanel Jones on the Today Show made a brilliant comparison. She argued that Beyoncé using the Met Gala to tease an album would be like, quote, proposing at someone else's wedding.
Oh, that is such a perfect analogy.
It's a breach of high society etiquette to steal focus from the Costume Institute's fundraiser.
You just don't upstage Anna Wintour.
Never.
But the contrast in how different people perceive Beyoncé's gravity is hilarious. While the internet is treating a hand gesture like the Da Vinci Code, you have other people in the room who are completely oblivious.
Which brings us to Paul Anthony Kelly.
Yes! Enter Paul Anthony Kelly. He's an actor, he's doing the requisite red carpet interviews, and a reporter asks him to name his favorite Beyoncé song.
And his response was famously flat. He just shrugged and said, I don't know, I'm a metalhead.
I felt so bad for him. He was entirely unfazed by the fact that the most famous woman on Earth had just ended a 10-year hiatus, like 10 feet away from him.
He was clueless.
The internet absolutely roasted him. They accused him of living in a cave. But I kind of love it. Bursts the bubble of this hyper-curated celebrity worship.
It definitely bursts the bubble. But, if we really want to strip away the artifice, we have to look past the album theories and the fashion math entirely.
What do you mean?
Well, the most profound insight from the behind-the-scenes reporting comes from a behavioral analysis of the night.
Okay, tell me more about that.
We discussed earlier how poised and commanding Blue Ivy looked during that standoff over the sunglasses. But human behavior expert Bilal Honigman reviewed the footage and noticed a completely different story playing out in her microexpressions.
Because we get so caught up in the visual power of the Balenciaga that we forget we are literally looking at a teenager. What did the analysis reveal?
Honigman noted that while Blue Ivy had clearly been coached on her posing, dropping her chin, placing her hands firmly on her hips to project maturity, her nervous system was actually telling the truth.
She was nervous.
Very. She was continuously, subtly fiddling with her jacket. She was darting her eyes nervously from side to side whenever she thought the cameras were focused on her parents instead of her.
Wow.
The analysis concluded that beneath the armor of the couture, she was a deeply anxious 14-year-old trying to survive the overwhelming sensory overload of the most intimidating red carpet on the planet.
That completely reframes the entire night for me.
It changes everything.
You look at the photos and you see a billionaire heir, the next great fashion icon asserting her dominance with those blacked-out sunglasses. But the body language betrays the fear.
The sunglasses were a prop.
Exactly. She wasn't being a diva by refusing to take them off. She was hiding behind them. They were her shield against thousands of screaming strangers and flashing lights. It makes Tina Knowles' tears make so much more sense. She wasn't just crying because Blue looked beautiful. She was crying because she recognized how terrifying it is to stand on that precipice.
That's a lot for a kid.
It really is. If you want to keep peeling back the layers of Hollywood's biggest nights with us, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next.
It is a profoundly humanizing observation, and honestly, it leaves us with a critical, lingering thought to consider.
What's that?
Well, we spent this entire deep dive dissecting the fashion, the family dynamics, and the leveraging of institutional rules. But when you step back and look at the reality of the 2026 Met Gala, you have to ask a broader question about the event itself.
What are we really looking at when we watch that live stream?
Exactly. Is this institution still genuinely focused on celebrating costume art and raising funds for a museum? Or has the Met Gala fully morphed into a modern-day royal court presentation where the actual exhibit isn't the clothing at all, but the grand, highly orchestrated unveiling of the celebrity bloodline the next generation of Hollywood heirs presented to the public.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.